Navy.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This morning we have the invocation by Pastor Patrick Womack of the Bay Presbyterian Church. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Thank you for earlier in the year attending a memorial service at our church for Alex Grant's wife, Louise. It's good to see you under happier circumstances. Bay Presbyterian is on South Bay Drive in Bonita Springs, and just want to tell you, in 2 weeks from this evening, our daughter-in-law from Texas will be over to be talking about her brand new book, No More Boring Bible Study. That will be at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, March 18th, day after St. Patrick's Day, just throwing that in. And then on the 28th, we, along with First Presbyterian Church, will be co-sponsoring an event at our church called Faith in the Public Square from 9 until 1 p.m. on March 28th. That's a Saturday. Would love to have anyone who would like to come. Otherwise, let's pray. Father in heaven, we do rejoice in you and give thanks. As this meeting opens, we are grateful, O Lord, that you have provided for us a nation birthed in liberty. Praying, Lord, that you will be pleased to grant to those who will be considering matters today wisdom and discernment to preserve and protect that precious gift right here in Bonita Springs. But Lord, as we meet here, we are mindful that a number of our fellow Americans are in harm's way today as hostilities are occurring in the Middle East. We pray for a swift and successful conclusion to that mission. We pray, Lord, that not only would you preserve our freedom, but that others throughout the world may come to experience this great gift of liberty. But Lord, please bless us. We're all sinners in need of your abounding grace, and we thank you for providing for us, and thank you, Lord, for achieving your purpose in this world. Bless us, we pray. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Bogues.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
Here.
Councilmember Carr.
Here.
Mayor Gibson.
Here.
Councilmember Corey.
Here.
Councilmember Fullick.
Here.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Here.
All right. Public comment on agenda items. Any public comment on agenda items this morning? All right, seeing none, we will go into proclamations and presentations.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
No, we're not there yet.
Oh.
The presentations, because of the drought situations, this morning we've got the Executive Director of BSU, Andy Coble, here to give us an update on our endless water that we have here in Bonita Springs, because hence the springs part of Bonita Springs.
All right, good morning, Mayor and Council. Thank you. Basically, just wanted to give a quick update. I know we've been in contact with the district on a regular basis, and they recently issued a water shortage warning for some areas in Lee and Collier County. What this graphic has displayed up here basically shows some of Collier's well fields, our well fields, saltwater interface line, and a few wells they've been monitoring. And you'll see the 3 red dots. Those are some of their wells with the table in the center. They all have less than 1 feet of freshwater head, and that's when the concern comes that saltwater intrusion could be happening into the freshwater aquifer. So for us at the Drinking Water with Bonita Springs Utilities, we've been utilizing an alternative water source now since 2004 to treat some and augment our freshwater supplies using reverse osmosis. So in addition to that, in the last 5 years, we've worked with the district to try to increase our allocation of fresh water so that we could be prepared to react in times like this. Basically what that does is that allows us to shift our water source. We can use that freshwater source when it's plentiful in the rainy season more heavily, and then times like this we can shift away from that to an alternative water source that's not taxed as much as the freshwater aquifer. So basically, you'll see here our wells here in this area are on the top of that graphic. There's the blue, which are the freshwater wells in the Tamiami, and then the green, which are alternative reverse osmosis water supplies. So we've pretty much stopped all freshwater withdrawals from the west well field, moved any farther east, and then increased usage of the lower, deeper alternative source. Currently, we're working with the district on monitoring levels and chlorides in that freshwater aquifer. We're coordinating with them on an almost daily basis and reporting these results weekly to them so that they can make informed decisions regarding water restrictions and things like that. So as long as we continue to practice our conservation measures and follow any of the watering restrictions that they might issue, the drinking water should be no issues here in Bonita Springs. And actually later today at 10 o'clock, there's a meeting at the district offices. I'm going to be attending that. And we have a call with them set up on Friday. So again, like I said, continuous coordination with them on a regular basis.
Thank you. Any questions? Yeah, Nigel?
Yeah, Andy, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I've noticed that some of our residents have lush green lawns, and if you drive by in the mornings, sprinklers are on definitely more than once or twice a week.
Right.
How do we control that?
Well, for residential,
Sure, they don't know there's a drought. That's the only reason they're watering their lawns every day.
right. It's going to come down to, for residential, code enforcement or neighborhood services. Usually, from what I've seen, and I'm not involved with enforcement, but usually you hear the first step is education. You try to educate the people because, like you said, most of them don't know, either haven't heard or don't pay, not paying it for whatever reason. They're just not doing it. So first step's education, and then usually, you'll get into enforcement or maybe some penalties after that. Other larger users, such as the golf courses that have their own consumptive use permits, the district is going to be doing enforcement with those.
But Mayor and Council, to clarify, we currently are under the warning, but the city of Bonita Springs does not have any watering restrictions at this time. We have been in direct communication with Andy and Donnie and his team, and they're keeping us updated. We anticipated some calls with the Water Management District, and they would be issuing any of those restrictions that come forth, and then we would then work with neighborhood services in that process. Also, it was explained to me that the individual golf courses have separate permits that the Water Management District themselves would provide that regulation to them.
Correct. And you might have heard Lee County, I think, has issued the 1-day-a-week water restriction. It hasn't happened here yet. The district, I do believe, will be issuing that forthcoming, but until that happens, yeah.
Thanks, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Laura?
Hi, Andy. Good morning.
Good morning.
I heard BSU got some awards,
There has been a couple over the years, yes.
but just recently.
Yeah, there might have been a couple. We got an outstanding plant award from FDEP for one of our reclamation facilities. Southeast Desalting Association, a drinking water taste award. Yeah. Yep.
you.
Thank you. Mhm.
Oh, thank you for coming this morning, Andy.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a good one. All right. Next proclamation, designating the week of March 9th to the 15th, 2026 as Flood Awareness Week in the city of Bonita Springs. City of Bonita Springs proclamation, whereas the city of Bonita Springs has experienced severe weather in the past, including extreme rainfall and tropical system events resulting in the flooding in both coastal and riverine areas. And this flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes and buildings in all areas, whether they are high-risk special flood hazard areas or low to moderate risk flood zones. And whereas the City of Bonita Springs is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program, which offers residents the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss by purchasing flood insurance at a reduced insurance premium rates, and sets higher regulatory standards to reduce flood risk and potential flood damage to their property. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved through appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures taken before a flood, and whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of residents, and whereas the Florida Floodplain Managers Association has declared the week of March 9th through March 15th, 2026 as Flood Awareness Week to promote the awareness and increased knowledge of flood risk and the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and emergency preparedness. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Mike Gibson, Mayor of the City of Bonita Springs, and on behalf of City Council, do hereby designate the week of March 9th through March 15th, 2026 as Flood Awareness Week in the City of Bonita Springs, and urge all residents to increase their knowledge of flood risks and learn how to protect themselves and their property. Done and ordained this 4th day of March, 2026. Mike Gibson, Mayor, City of Bonita Springs. If I can have everybody from Community Development and Neighborhood Services come up for a quick photo.
Number one, smile. Thank you very much.
All right, now we're moving on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogaz.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon. Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Any comment on? Right. 8, public hearings. Mike?
This is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Bonita Springs, Florida, amending Division 2 Planning and Zoning Board of Article 2 Administration, Chapter 4 Zoning, Division 2 Historic Preservation Board of Article 2 Administration and Enforcement, Chapter 5 Historic Preservation, and Division 6 Open Space Buffering and Landscaping, Article 3 Design Standards and Requirements, Chapter 3 Development Standards of the Land Development Code, expanding the powers, duties, and procedures of the Planning and Zoning Board, providing for other necessary clarifications and revisions of code, and providing for conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you, Council. So what this is the second expansion of the newly created Super Board, the Planning and Zoning Board. What this ordinance does is it accomplishes two things. One, it does not eliminate Historic Preservation Board, but essentially transfers their powers to the new board. So at a future meeting, we would be closing out the current membership of the Historic Preservation Board. I know that question has come to me. But the structures, the timelines, everything would remain as previously stated. Would just go to the Planning and Zoning Board with that addendum that I put in the last meeting, that we'd move the timetable for the automatic stay to 80 years. The tree board, because there are some, in speaking with staff, there are some other functions a tree board has. This does not affect the tree board. It only takes the heritage preservation function away from them, which is one of the quasi-judicial standards, and rolls that also into this Planning and Zoning Board. Now, from an operational standpoint, it is likely to happen is that all of those decisions will be made during the regular planning and zoning process. So one of the benefits that we've talked about repeatedly as we've created this board move forward is that you're going to have one board who's looking at something soup to nuts, all the way from the very initial planning and high-level stages to the zoning and to the final implementation in the site plan. That will also include issues that may affect historic resources or affect heritage planting. So it'll be a much more comprehensive review, and it should shorten time frames for projects. It'll also add scrutiny because you have the same board looking at each stage, and so you'll have the benefit of promises made to one board being carried over because it's going to be the same board the entire process. So if you have any questions, the only thing I forgot to add into the packet was there's a business impact statement. I have that for the record. I'll file that with the clerk, but essentially it, as required by state law, you know, what is the impact to businesses? The impact in this case would be beneficial. So it's not an additional encumbrance.
Jim, you had a question?
Yeah, just thank you for clarifying the status of the boards. Your intent or timeline to officially dissolve both boards?
So there won't be any dissolution of the board. We're changing the membership of the Historic Preservation Board. So what I am speaking with the clerk, my recommendation would be at the next meeting, after this is adopted, we will bring a resolution ending the terms of the current Historical Preservation Board. The board itself will just operate as a function of the Planning and Zoning Board. The Tree Board will continue, because I have not received any direction to change that, for their other functions. I'm not really sure what those other functions are. I just know that they have other functions other than, you know, looking at the heritage tree situation.
Okay. Well, my thoughts are, if there's being consolidated, clearly we don't want to expand the Planning and Zoning Board, but there are a variety of referenced expertises that are expected from each of those boards. And
So-
I think that we, as a council, should consider designating consultants, experts, or whatever relative to architecture, arborists, and other related fields that have been tied to those boards, which sometime existed and didn't. So it's a more effective and balanced decision process moving forward.
I agree. When the Planning and Zoning Board was initially created, we were looking at combining two boards that neither which had those expertise levels. To have the certified local government for historic preservation, for instance, you would need certain statutorily defined positions. So we can fill those positions out as the board membership changes in the future. So if there's openings, we could look for specific people, but in the interim, we could.
So they don't necessarily, you can't appoint like an expert assigned to the board, non-voting?
I think we could. I just don't know that it would have the effect especially for historic preservation of having the certification if there's a non-voting member. But we could certainly add expertise to the staff report, to the consultants.
Okay. And lastly, I know that they have your big training coming up tomorrow, I believe, for planning and zoning. Have we adopted any of these new roles into their training discussions tomorrow?
No, it's
well-
just,
Yes.
well,
Well, I would like to clarify that. Representatives from Community Development, Mike Fegon, who is the staff liaison to Historic Preservation, is going to be giving a brief overview of those. And then I believe Laura Gibson, who is the staff liaison to the Tree Advisory Board, is going to be giving a brief overview of those, of the process and the duties that has previously been done by those boards
Okay,
in land use decisions.
All right, thank you.
Right. Any other questions?
and since this is the final adoption, is a
We have
public hearing.
public comment. Any public comment on this item only? All right, seeing none. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, roll call?
Deputy Mayor Purdon. Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 9, mayor and council member items. Councilman Fulk.
Yes, sir. So over the years, I've had several requests from citizens saying that they thought there should be a crosswalk somewhere, and that was never the case. However, in this, if you're all aware, on Old 41, if you're headed north from Bonita Beach Road, just before the first divider, that section of the road, there's no easy pass-through, and our assistant city manager was nice enough to accompany me out there, and I thought it was really just more a courtesy call to see, they would see that we're paying attention and looking. And I would tell you that in the 15, 20 minutes that Matt and I stood out there, literally, we saw half a dozen people trying to cross the street, and it was pretty evident it's dangerous. People are using it and crossing there simply because there is no continuation of the sidewalk, so they're trying to get, most of the time, they're crossing from the east side of the road to the west. And we looked at each other and went, oh, people really are using and it's not safe. So At this time, I really think that it's something we'd want to have a study done, but Matt, comment?
No, just echoing what Councilman Fullick said. We did see some folks crossing there, and that was probably not the peak time for people to be crossing there. It was in the morning. I suspect that area probably has more activity in the evening.
And earlier in the day.
And earlier in the day. The one thing about it is it's a transition area of Old 41. It's really just south of where the Old 41 streetscape drainage project started back in 2015. So it's outside of that footprint, and it's approaching the Bonita Beach Road intersection. So what you have is vehicles coming off of Bonita Beach Road are still coming at some speed because they haven't entered the formal streetscape that we built that kind of slows you down by design. And coming out of it, they're speeding up a little bit to meet the intersection, as they're headed southbound. So given the speeds and given the width, I think we would need to hire somebody to take a look at it. Well, we would have to hire someone regardless, but it'll probably need things like pedestrian refuges and flashing beacons because of those safety concerns, which means it'll be not your cheapest crosswalk, but we do have funds in the budget to be able to do that should council want to proceed. And there are no other crosswalks in that section from east to west as you head down towards Beach Road. So it looked like kind of the logical location, and looks like there's a need, but it would need to be studied.
So kind of like Bonita Drive.
Yeah, I think something similar. I don't know because of the dimensions there. But yeah, there'd need to be some thought and study, and that's kind of what I'm thinking, yes.
Jesse?
I think, excuse me, I think the place it's going is, it makes a lot of sense. I would say, from a policy standpoint, I initially was kind of, I was not sure how I felt about it, because from a policy standpoint, you don't want to put yourself in the spot where every time somebody says, hey, you know what, there's a lot of traffic here, we need a crosswalk, that we end up putting a crosswalk. Some of those are going to be warranted, but there's more scientific ways to look at that to ensure that we're doing it in the most appropriate place. That said, with what you and Matt said about there being no other crosswalks in the corridor, that whole process kind of works itself out. But in general, my thought is, okay, hold on, pump the brakes before we spend an absorbent amount of money. Let's make sure, is this the only one we need? Is this the best option? All of those things. But with that said, in the corridor being what it is, yes, I agree, and I think this is the right place to do it.
And I think your constituents want to meet my constituents safely.
Yeah, agreed. No, I agree. See, I mean, look, it's right in the district, but I still, the consistency in regards to how we have to look at everything, it remains the same with me. But I think
There is
where it's at
additional
is
growth going on there now already, so it's not going to get any better.
yeah, I agree.
Thanks, Jess.
Jim?
I think I had the same questions that Jesse had on it. Is this a temporary thing due to the construction at Ceremonial Brewery? And I'm curious as to what the pedestrian flow is that warrants the crosswalk. But in light of the discussion, I would say I believe it makes sense to study it, but I would also add that from a mobility standpoint, if there is in fact a sidewalk issue that ultimately needs to be addressed in terms of continuity, then that we need to make that as a part of the phase of the study, so that we may just fund the crosswalk, but quite honestly, if in fact it's an issue of people trying to get over to a sidewalk today, that probably needs to be factored in at some point in time to be addressed.
I think we have sidewalks on both sides, but it's just a matter of them.
So it wasn't necessarily crossing over for a sidewalk then, it's strictly they're crossing over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the sidewalks are there on both sides. It's just getting to them.
Okay. We need a vote or direction or?
Yeah, I think direction. We have the funds to do it.
I think solidifying a vote would be,
Okay. But as Jesse said, if there are other streets that are of concern and a different, we throw that into the study?
We haven't had any requests for that, and this is kind of a unique situation.
I have one.
Okay, maybe we handle that separate and you come back with it and we'll just approve it then.
Yeah, we'll get this one started, but at the next meeting, bring it up.
One thing, combine all the studies.
Well, no, I'm saying, right, but which one are you talking about?
Windsor Road.
Okay, so Matt,
And
have you gone
I
out
would
to-
say stop signs.
Well, right, so my thing is, so Matt's already gone out there and we've gotten here with this and there's money existing. He hasn't yet done that with Windsor, and none of us have heard of the Windsor issue yet. So if what you're saying is correct and Matt wants to go out there and all of the things that are there are the same way as Nigel, then we do it the same way next meeting with yours, if that's the case.
Well, and we do have future improvements coming at the Windsor intersection there, so. So it might not be good to spend.
Depends on what part of Windsor you're talking about. I'm not aware of anything there. The north side of Windsor has no sidewalks on it currently, and there are improvements that will be addressing that with the Quadrant Road. The south side, I believe there is a sidewalk for a portion of it, but again, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, yeah, so do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to proceed with the study.
All right, and a second, roll call?
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Right, city attorney items.
Oh, I only have one item in it, and I apologize for the lateness of this item. So this Saturday, under our contract with Zap & Co., the Fiesta Bonita was gonna move forward. If you recall, we had, several months back, it was planned for September. There was a request by the contractor to move that to March date. We've been in conversation with the contractor who's trying to comply with the terms of that amendment, including following up with some additional paperwork. They've indicated that they're gonna get that paperwork to us, but they are asking to move the date to a future date. It has not yet been determined. I think it'll have a lot to do with the availability of Riverside Park. At this point, I have informed the contractor that they're in breach of the contract for the paperwork, and if they don't hold the event, that would be a complete breach of the agreement. What I am just reporting this back to you, I do not know if they're gonna move forward on the 7th. They haven't confirmed that they're canceling the event. If they get the paperwork, we're gonna be in good shape, and they may ask for revising the agreement further to come on with a new date. So I just want to give you that information. If there's any additional guidance or anything you'd like to hear back, you'd like me to relay back. My understanding, I'm not 100% clear on the issues, but my understanding is that they want the event to be successful, and they don't feel that it can be successful by this weekend.
I'd agree. It's short turnaround. If we can get an advantageous work date that works at Rosemary that's a little bit later, and even if they do it somewhere other than the park, if they do it at one of our other parks or something, if there's another venue where they can do it at a date that works, I think it's better to do that than do something in 4 days and not really get any bang for your buck. So.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We do have some revised meeting dates we wanted to go over with you, and we wanted to remind you all that right following this meeting, we'll have a special meeting of the council to directly following the adjournment of this. The second regular meeting in March, we have had some discussion regarding moving that to March 25th, which is a week later than our normal meeting. And that would be because of the discussions that are coming in our second meeting regarding the rail trail, to give some additional time for any direction that we receive regarding that potential contract, as well as any consulting work that we need to get feedback from as well. And that would be moving that date to 9 a.m. on March 25th. Additionally, in observance of Passover, we like to discuss moving the typically start time of 5:30 p.m. on April 1st, to make that a morning meeting on April 1st at 9 a.m. And then additionally, changes were made to the start time of the meetings for the zoning action public hearing is required for the original start time would be April 15th at 9 a.m. and we're asking to make that one a 5:30 meeting.
Alternatively, if there's a majority vote to the council, we can hold the land use meeting at 9 a.m. too. The intention of the statute is that there's an opportunity during the 2 hearings for someone to appear at after hours, but you can override that requirement by a majority vote.
Which date is this now?
The April 15th.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a discussion. If we had offered to change the meeting date, but if that's not doable, then that's the ability of council to change that.
Is there any reason or anything on that agenda that would make it controversial to the public if we were to do that? I mean, I have no problem doing that if this is just logistically to make everything flow. But if this is going to be a situation where people are going to be upset because there was something on the agenda or something along those lines, then I don't
I'm
want to
getting a signal from our community development director that the zoning issues that would be brought forward should not be of a concern, that we would have a unique public comment or a huge interest in public comment.
If that's the case, I'm comfortable with keeping the meeting as is and taking a vote to make that happen.
Which one?
Wait, we're changing the meeting.
So April 15th, because of observance of Passover, we're moving the April 1st meeting to the morning at 9 a.m., which would require then to have the second meeting in April to be in the evening. If council decides to take a vote, you can do so to keep the April 15th meeting at 9 a.m., because you will have land use issues on that agenda.
So you want to have it at 9 a.m. or you want to?
Yeah, well, I mean, then it just pretty much stays, right?
If, what I recommend, if that's the case, is with the changes to the 18th to the 25th at 9 a.m., April 1st to 9 a.m., and then retaining April 15th at 9 a.m., that the deputy mayor make that as a motion, and then the council votes on it, and it'll all be taken care of.
Okay. Is that good with you, Mike?
Yeah. So both meetings in April will be
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
And the 25th is 9 a.m., March 25th.
Correct.
What?
Motion to
I mean,
approve.
well, hold on. I just,
Wait.
before I get there, okay,
I mean,
so,
yeah, because then we'll have 3 meetings in a row at 9 a.m., correct?
yes.
With the fourth one wanting to be at 9 a.m. the
Yeah, to
15th.
verify, the only one we would need a vote on is if you chose not to hold because of the land use decisions, is we only need to actually vote on the 25th. The other ones is through you, the discretion of the mayor and the staff on the meeting times.
so
But, okay, so if I understand, listen, if this is a situation.
Let me
where
yeah,
you
so.
don't want to do 3 9 a.m. meetings in a row and you want to have a night meeting, I've always been of the mind, when I started on council, I wanted all the meetings at night. So I get it if that's where if your thought process is you don't want to have 3 9 o'clock meetings in a row because it doesn't give people appropriate time to come after work, then I will go with you and I'll take that back. Because I know Gibson doesn't like doing that either. He might not say it, but he doesn't like doing it either.
yeah, I'd prefer to do the 5:30 on.
I will take my motion.
So to clarify, that March 25th, 9 a.m.
Correct.
Wednesday, April 1st, 9 a.m.
Right.
April 15th, 5:30 p.m.
Correct.
Okay, and we do not need a vote on that then.
Yeah, and I just point this out, that this is the most elaborate April Fool's joke that Arlene the Joker has ever pulled. You all show up on April 1st.
The look on her face just said everything.
Okay, cool.
And that concludes my report.
No, you're right. You were right.
Didn't we have the?
Oh, sorry, authorize, yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. So we do have here, Ellie is with our Public Works Department. We do need to provide you with some options to submit for community projects to Congressman Byron Donald's office. We provided 3 suggestions. We suggest that we do those in the priority of council. We did not list them in priority, but we'd like to you to provide us your priorities between the 3 that we have, and Ellie can provide an update.
Good morning. For the record, Ellie McEwen with Public Works. Yes, as Arlene talked about, the notice that we received from Congressman Donald's office is his office will be providing to Congress up to 10 projects in his district. And so any projects that, that we recommend this morning, we will need to prioritize from the most important to the least important, and that will help Congressman Donald's office prioritize those 10 applications. And I will tell you, we have been very fortunate. Last year, we were awarded $2 million from as appropriation funds for Rosemary Drive.
Okay, yeah, so we just need the 3 in our preferred order?
Correct, and just to be crystal clear and understanding is we will be asked to provide the priority of the city, and so we will prepare for the 3, but we most likely will be working on 1, whichever your priority is.
My thoughts are, I mean, of course, the Public Safety Emergency Response Center first, because we didn't get that in the legislative. And then I would go probably pool second, just because it's more citywide, and then the Paradise Road. My thoughts, but anybody else?
I'm very comfortable with that, Mike. Thank you.
If we could have that in form of a motion, that would be.
Okay.
Motion to approve Mike's suggestion of prioritizing projects.
Second.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogaz.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Mayor and council member reports. Jamie?
Alrighty, here. As you all may recall, I currently have a budget line item focusing on Lovers Key State Park. And I was wanting to look at exploring and expanding that funding to include Bonita Springs, beach parking, and Hole. I'd like to work with staff and reach out to our county commissioner to begin discussions and possibility of offering annual beach parking pass at a reduced rate to our full-time Bonita Springs residents. At this point, I'm just asking for council's support to explore this concept and to work with staff on it.
Jesse?
I absolutely love this. I tried to do it when I first got on council like 5 years ago. It didn't work. I am a cheerleader for you. I'll fight with you. If you can make it happen, I would love to see it.
Thank you. Good.
I'm on board with it, so any,
Just to absolutely have my support, and I wish you well. This is not like when we met a couple of years ago with the state and got the pushback from them that for state parks, they will not do any sort of a programs because the governor doesn't want it to be.
So as at last year's budget, council member Bogaz asked for a line item in the operational budget for $15,000 to look at supplementing some sort of reduced cost through the state. What the information received from the state is whatever they offered here would have to be offered statewide, and that could be problematic. What I understand Councilwoman is asking now is if we could, there is an annual beach park pass that you can be a Lee County resident, and as if there is a way to utilize as a pilot program some of the funding of that $15,000 that would possibly benefit Bonita Springs residents, if there's some sort of ability to use that funding to supplement a reduced cost for our permanent residents. But we would need to work with Lee County staff, and Councilwoman would need to talk with the county commissioner. I would imagine whatever we do here is they're going to want to be able to replicate in the rest of the county if a municipality or other jurisdiction wanted to participate with them.
So would this be for Lovers Key? We would get a special pass for Lovers Key?
So the original operational line item was for Lovers Key. That was brought up because that was the program we're working on. I believe what Councilwoman Bogaz is asking is now could we expand that and also look at Lee County beach park facilities that are paid for, where you pay to park.
And Bonita Springs. No access.
And would you be able to park there if nobody was parking there and pay for it, or would you have to have a permit?
It's a
So, yeah, Lee County currently sells annual passes, And so I think what the idea possibly could be is to the city supplement in a pilot program some of that cost for our residents for that annual pass, which I believe is $60 for the year, if they can prove proof of residency in Bonita. Previously, many years ago, the city had a beach park pass that you could buy at Parks and Rec. It was a discounted rate. That system went away a long time ago. So that would be something we would have to work in partnership with them to figure out is how we would disseminate them, what process we have. We have the ability to verify permanent residents. We did it previously at the rec center. But then I understand we'd have to work with making sure the county is whole in their cost as well. So it would have to be a partnership.
There is a model for this, but if you guys remember about 10 years ago, City of Naples did this for residents. So Collier County beaches and City of Naples beaches, if you were a president, you got to go and you get a little turtle pass or whatever it is, and you stick it on your license plate, and now you've proved it, you didn't have to pay anything, and now you can park. You can do the beach parking. So it'd be similarly stealing that old idea that they used to have and applying it to Bonita, essentially.
Well, they also used to, you could go in and buy a pass for $75.
Yeah, you could do that too, right.
But now you can't. You
Yeah,
have to be
you have to be there.
Naples resident. So will it be also, or will we try to get Naples to open that agreement back up that we can?
So as far as I know right now, the idea is a pilot program to look at just Lee County because that's where we have the ability to work with. That would be something in the future, and I think also this is to be a pilot program. That was the original ask in the line item because it's $15,000 is to start some ideas. You've had projects like this before where you created pilot programs to study how it would work, and then you can make tweaks and decide if you want any long-term funding or if it's not doable or is it functioning the way you like, you pull the program back.
So the parking, would it be at docks, would be where the?
It would be where Lee County parking is provided by pay. So you do also have free parking along the beach in those beach access points, but this would be where our residents currently have to pay to park.
So it wouldn't apply to the free places?
No, because anyone can currently park in those.
It's like Access 10, the last one.
Yep.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
parking
It's
down by docks.
Access 1 and 10
Yep,
is what's
exactly.
what's available today
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
$60.
Exactly, 1 in 10. That's the easiest way to look at it.
Jim, anything?
That was my point. The only real question, quite honestly, as you're exploring it, when they clear up the rest facilities by docks, will that also go as part of the program? Because right now, that's not included within the premier parking pass.
Don't include it because don't include
Yeah.
it. Keep it separate. We should attack the bathrooms, yes, but if you tie it to this, that could be tied up forever over the stupid bathrooms.
Yes.
So it's just
yes.
like, don't tie them
And
together.
I think the bathrooms are, I mean, we've discussed that with them and they're still,
I think we can circle back with them on that,
Yes.
actually.
I'm right now focusing on parking.
No, but it makes sense if we can do 1 and 10, that's great.
Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
So 1 in 10 will be, you can park there with a parking pass?
Yes, $60 for a year.
But I'm asking for us to
rate.
explore, but we still have a lot of legwork and exploring to do before I bring this back to what the county has come up with and what we've discussed with them. So there's a lot of discussion and reaching out that I still have to do too. So this is just really an ask for me to start exploring the options.
So
and
then
what I
would
can
a
come back.
person with a pass have priority over those free parking spots?
Well, this isn't, the free parking spots are the free parking spots. This
Okay,
doesn't,
so why is 1 in 10 involved at all?
because you have to pay to park there. The other access points, you don't have to pay. So if there's a parking spot, you can go in there, you don't need a
Right.
parking,
So
you don't have
pass
to
or
pay.
no pass, you can pay.
So it's for access 1, access 10, where you have to pay to park. So this would go
Oh,
as a,
not all of them in between, I thought you were doing
all of those in between are free,
I know.
but I said paid parking. So for all the paid parking spots, I'd like to explore a reduced rate for our residents that are
And we're
full-time.
just gonna focus on Bonita Springs, not
Bonita
Lover's
Springs
Key?
only right now.
Bonita's, Lover's Key. is
Lover's
Bonita
Key.
Springs.
Yes, but it's a federal park.
It doesn't matter.
Yes,
It's a
it
state park, and it is still in
okay.
Bonita Springs, but it's irrelevant to the conversation.
Mm,
Well, they didn't want to do anything with us.
They don't.
Will they offer
This-
their own?
We're talking about 1 in
To
10.
verify, the funding ask originally was for Lover's Key. What Councilwoman is asking, can that be expanded for her to begin discussions with Lee County
For 1 in 10.
for wherever there's paid parking?
Well, Lover's Key is paid parking, but
No, wherever there is Lee County government paid parking.
Just to clear it up, I went to the state 3 years ago. The state will not do it. It's the governor's policy, a state park, but we're talking about Lee County parks.
Correct.
And just 2 basically spots, and giving our residents a discount, right?
Correct.
Or they should be free. It should be free for Bonita residents, but I
I agree.
digress.
I agree.
Okay, roll call.
Okay, to clarify, this is a motion and a second authorizing Councilmember Bogas to explore the concept.
Yes.
Correct.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Carr,
Aye.
Mayor Gibson,
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas,
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon, Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I think that's it for me for today. Thank you. Thanks.
Bessie?
I don't. You know what? I do have 2 little things. And it's potential ideas for down the road. So it's like no panic warnings, but just things I was thinking about as we were developing and looking at the downtown. I think at some point it may be advantageous to weigh out what it might look like if we were to entertain buying the McSwain house. So I'm not saying we do it. I think that it's just something that we could consider. I think it takes care of a number of issues, and it could be something that we as a city could, I think we could do. There isn't a lot of property in that corridor. So just a thought, let it saute. And then this is just, I don't know from a legal standpoint, like if we could do it or not, but this is just kind of as Derek hides under the desk. So here is a revenue stream potential outside the box thought. So as you are aware, Collier County does not allow medical marijuana dispensaries. Okay, so half of the people who come to Bonita Springs are actually Collier residents. So I wonder if there's a way that we potentially could get some type of fee or surcharge for people who are, essentially it would be a Collier tariff for people coming in to Bonita Springs to use the dispensaries, and we would get some type of, some of percentage per order, 10 cents an order, whatever the deal. I don't know what the math would be on it, but essentially an ongoing revenue stream that is going to be provided to us by Collier County because they don't want to allow medicinal marijuana dispensaries. However, half of the people who come here are from Collier County. So this would be free money to our budget, essentially for people who are coming over here to take advantage of the fact that we have allowed constitutional freedoms in Bonita Springs where they have not allowed it in Collier County. So now we as a city could benefit from the 80,000 people a year who are coming here, and they're coming to our stores twice a week, every year, or every month, and we could be getting a little bit of money on that. And maybe Collier will either decide to, hey, maybe we should do this ourselves, or we'll just keep getting money because it's not going away. And literally half the people who are coming to our dispensaries are from Collier. So why not capitalize on that and figure out, and the only reason I'm doing this and thinking about it is the reality is the property tax situation, whether it passes in its current iteration or not, we as local municipalities are going to start having to be creative in figuring out ways to have ongoing funding streams. This is one of, if we sat down together, we could probably come up with 20, but we're going to have to start figuring out ways to get ahead of this, and this is just one that I think it doesn't hurt anybody in Bonita. The people in Collier, you go down there and they're like, well, they allow that in Bonita, but we would never. Meanwhile, 50% of their people are the ones who are up here. So, okay, cool. Maybe we get a little bit of money out of this. But this is just one of many ways that I think we really, as a city, need to start figuring out ways of expanding our funding streams because they are not going to be as they've traditionally been. And I think we can all see that coming down the road. So, again, no red flags. I'm not asking to look into it. I'm not asking for any studies. Think about it and what it would look like, how we could do it. I don't even know. There's obviously an issue with, would it have to be a Lee County, Collier County thing, or could we do it as a city? And would it be if they lived in the city, they don't have to pay? Or how, like, logistically, how would it work? Legally, could we do it? And then, how much money are we actually talking? And then, is that money that we could actually be putting directly back into our budget? And if it is, cool, that's free, that's money that we didn't have for something that we decided as a policy standpoint we allowed to happen. And 1 mile differential between Collier and Lee, all this money's coming here. So if we can get a piece of it somehow, I think it could be advantageous for us. So just think about it, chew on it.
Derek, is there any avenue there?
I don't want to render an opinion on this time because it'll be harsh. But, so if you asked to think about it, let me think about it. That'd be the
Okay.
answer.
So I had a question, just really to you, Derek, is wouldn't it be, not to say easier, but maybe less opportunities for litigation if it was all encompassing? If you're not a Bonita resident,
So
then,
the real issue is how it's phrased. So
Right.
if it's a tax, we don't have taxing power, only the power that the state gives us. It's at a fee, how do you track it? How do you, then there are flow control, because these things get litigated, like when people say, well, we don't want to have a landfill in our in our community. We want to pay the other community to take our trash. There's a lot of overlapping regulations. It's more about the authority we would have to even implement something like this. And so, how would we get the information about the residencies, all that? So those are, the answer is I can't give you an
Well,
answer.
they
without
have to give their
fleshing
license
it
when
out.
they have to give their license when they go to the dispensary. So it's a simple
Yes, but we don't regulate dispensaries. The state regulates.
Again, right. So I'm saying there's a lot of pieces along the way that we would have to look into. But the idea that it'd be tough to figure out. That's not it. That's
Well,
not really
it's tough
an-
to
And
figure.
HIPAA laws.
We'd have to develop the strategy before I could give you a legal opinion. I mean, essentially, what authority would we operate under?
I think it's more practical as a county, but I feel like as a city, I don't know if it's a test. I mean, look into it.
My only worry is if, like you said, maybe it gets them to allow it in Collier County, then we're losing businesses and jobs from the city because we have
A lot of
a lot here because we're getting the benefit of them coming up from Collier County. If they move down there, we might not need as many, so now we're losing businesses and jobs to Collier County.
I mean,
That's the only thing I'm thinking of there, but.
And it's a medical marijuana dispensary, so would they be breaking HIPAA laws if they revealed who's coming from Collier County to get medicine?
I mean, they're paying the state already. So I mean, they have to. There's already some transfer of information there, anyways. So because the state's getting their piece on everyone that goes through. So I'm not even saying we can. I just think it's something interesting to look at. And again, I encourage everybody to start thinking outside the box in regards to how we are gonna continue to keep the lights on and keep the trains moving. Because even if it isn't this current iteration, which I don't think it will be, honestly, knock on wood, but even if it's not, it's gonna be something. And if it's not this year, then the next year there's going to be something. So it's like, whatever we can do, we need to start figuring it out.
I understand where you're going, Jesse, but just remember that tariffs can be reciprocal. If I'm Collier County and I say, well, if you're gonna do that, then I'm gonna lay a tariff on Lee County or Bonita Springs residents coming down to Collier County to buy a car. Just understand that, tariffs can be reciprocal.
Yeah, and maybe we shouldn't use that word, but I was trying to get the point across to what
I
was.
got another thought on it that might be more appropriate. The whole discussion with the ad valorem discussion there has been no discussion, at least this session, as there was in the prior session, about replacing the revenues. And so to the deputy mayor's point, if we're looking at this from almost like a sin tax, where we're allowing a use that Collier, doesn't feel that is appropriate there, and the state's collecting revenue of it, could there be a bill to say that the communities that are taking the burden of these uses, get payments, get a portion of what's remitted to the state back, and then that could be applied to multiple things. It could be applied to fireworks. It could be applied to strip clubs. It could be applied to any number of other uses that their communities may try to exclude and push into another community. And at least that's a benefit to those communities that are, to the deputy mayor's point, that are allowing more free ranges of uses.
Jim, you had a comment?
Yeah, I think in light of the discussion that's gone on here, I agree 150% about what Jesse is recommending. I think that, quite honestly, it needs to be broadened to a formal workshop type session where we're presented with options for expanding revenue streams. And we do it in the same format like we did in the discussions of the rail trail environment, and just having a free-form dialogue as to how do we react when it's formalized with the state. Hopefully, we get past the immediate issue confronting us in terms of BERT. That dialogue should be about the same time we should know where from the legislature as to where they're going with it. So we can probably have a better, meaningful dialogue, and I think we need to explore everything. It just makes a lot of sense. So thank you for bringing it up.
Anything else?
That's all I've got. Thanks.
Laura?
No, I'm good.
All right. Chris?
Just so everyone's aware, Neil Anderson has tendered his retirement notice at the Wonder Gardens. The Wonder Gardens board will be having its regular board meeting next week, and they will start the process of trying to find a new executive director. Neil is moving back to Green Bay, where his family is located. Just wanted to note that in the time he served as executive director of the Wonder Gardens, there's been tremendous improvement, and he's leaving behind quite a legacy in terms of the shape of the Wonder Gardens, the staff that he's built, the increase in the membership of the Wonder Gardens, as well as the ticket sales. It's a public-private partnership that has worked very well between the city and the Wonder Gardens board. So we're going to miss Neil and wish him success with the next chapter of his life, and hope we can find somebody to replace him going forward.
Are they using a search firm?
I don't, yeah, the Wonder Gardens board is, I don't know exactly what they're doing at this point. So
I think they're putting it out on.
they probably are putting it out on a search, because I doubt whoever they're going to hire is already located in this area. It's going to have to be somebody coming in from some other place in the country.
Hopefully they'll use Neil as a resource, because he knows a lot of people
They
in the
are.
country.
They are.
Good.
He knows people. He knows possibilities. So they'll be talking to him about it. And he's not leaving until mid-April. So there's another 45 days that he'll be around.
Just two things. One is I would encourage the public and business owners, and Nicole is here. How many parks do we have in the city of Bonita Springs, Nicole? And I'll bet you that most people can name two. But Riverside is now such a hot commodity. People, I think, have an idea they want to have an event, they can just run down and book Riverside Park. So would encourage people, if they're thinking of using Riverside Park, that they start looking months in advance, maybe even a year in advance, because I think we've got over 90 events booked for this year. So it's a great problem to have. But also attended the workshop on the Aquatic Center. Great job by staff. And that was probably one of the most positive workshops we've ever had. The support from the community. I don't believe there was one single person who thought it was a bad idea. And I know they're compiling the data, and we'll get copies of that. But as far as the public goes, probably one of those well-attended workshops we've had as well. So a lot of support for it. And to your point, Jesse, when we start looking for revenue streams, that will be one for us.
Good. Jim?
Three things. The first thing, I want to go ahead and thank all of the folks that came down for the citywide cleanup a couple weekends ago. It was great to see the participation. I was a little bit disappointed by the number of people that were directly involved with that. And my suggestion for next year's citywide cleanup is that we have some kind of formal outreach to our businesses, as well as some of the volunteer groups, to get a greater participation and maybe expanding beyond downtown. But it was a great job. Nigel and I just got down there, and
We now know the most popular beers in Bonita Springs are Bud Light and Corona and Modelo.
Not necessarily in that order.
Correct.
Second item, I had questions because I have several folks that head north during the summer and asked about voting this summer. An issue came up in terms of identifying voting for both the primaries and in November for some of our 6-month-and-a-day residents. If a request is made for a vote-by-mail ballot, they ask you for your driver's license number. If you have had it updated sometime, they can't tell me when, after the last election, I received my renewal license on January 25. And so I called Lee.vote, called the folks there, and of course, my driver's license had not been updated by the DMV. So, because we have a variety of issues that will potentially be confronting us and our residents, I would encourage to get out, remind folks that to call the folks at Lee.vote, ask for the vote-by-mail folks, and have them confirm that they have the correct driver's license number out there. If they don't, they will take your number over the phone, and they will also ask, would you like to vote by mail, and provide the ballot information for them. So with that, I took from the homepage. Here's a copy of what's on the homepage of Lee.vote, but I would encourage you to get the message out to our residents. The last comment was really the discussion about Wonder Gardens and Neil Anderson. I have had the privilege of working with him both in Rotary and from a Wonder Garden standpoint, and to see the transition that occurred in the board and in the organization of the Wonder Gardens several years ago up till when Neil came in. What he's done has been miraculous. And I would like to echo the comments that Chris had relative to his contributions to it, and I think that I'd just like to formally recognize him for all of his great work. That's all I got.
Thank you. I'm just going to go to public comment. So, any public comment before we close this meeting up?
Hi, Ron George, Little Hickory Island. Two things. First of all, I wanted to thank the city for getting our culvert worked out in front of us. It was a lot bigger project than I had imagined, and I'm sure the city had imagined. And I know they're now working on the neighbor Dolphin Ways culverts. So I really appreciate that. As president of Seascape, we're probably about 90 to 95% build back better. I don't want to call recovered, I'm going to call it building back better. One of the remaining eyesores, obviously, in the neighborhood is the circle, which I understand is one of the city parks that needs a lot of attention. So I talked to Matt. I know Matt's been working on it, but I would like to encourage the city to keep pushing forward on that and getting it done as soon as possible. Right now, the weeds, I think, are back about my height, and it's not just the people that live there, but for whatever reason, all the beach traffic that comes, if they can't find the right parking, they all go around that circle, and it's just sort of an eyesore for the city. So I really would encourage the city to put that near the top of the list. I know you have a lot of priorities, but I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thanks again for my culvert. I got a couple other things I'm trying to work through, but thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ron. Any other public comment? Right, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned. Like 5, 10.